Today is a big moment for our country.
Good evening, America. Happy Monday. Welcome to the latest edition of Just the News, No Noise. I'm your host, John Solomon, reporting to you, as always, from the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. An end to the Iran war is taking shape. President Trump announced yesterday that a deal was in place, also called a Memorandum of Understanding, between the United States and Iran that ends 47-plus years of hostilities. Now, we don't have the full text of that deal yet, but the president already said that the deal was complete. And Vice President Vance revealed earlier today that the deal had already been digitally signed by the parties, with a formal signing expected to come Friday in Switzerland. Notably, Vice President Vance also said the U.S. would release the text of the agreement later in the week. The Vice President also insisted that the deal requires Iran to take steps to ensure compliance with non-nuclear proliferation provisions before it would secure access to any funds for rebuilding the country from the war it just went through. However, there could be a little bit of disagreement brewing between Israel's leadership on the deal. They have their own concerns about provisions requiring an end to the fighting in Lebanon, as well as Iran's nuclear development, with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu saying today that with or without a deal, he will continue to fight to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. From everything that's been put out there so far, it seems a number of things in the deal, including funding to Iran from Gulf states and the lifting of U.S. sanctions, depends upon the Iranians making good on their commitment to end their nuclear weapons program and complying with other aspects as well. That's a victory for the United States. It's something President Trump promised. Now, in a story you can read right on justthenews.com, we have more on former President Joe Biden's Justice Department using federal law enforcement to target parents at school board meetings, treating them as potential threats. They did all that despite warnings from the FBI officials and the National Sheriff's Association, even people inside their own department saying this is a bad idea, there is no threat, this is politics, it's going to hurt us. Merrick Garland approved it. All the documents from America First Legal over live at justthenews.com. You can go check them out. Pretty remarkable. One of those documents on October 4, well, the document that set in motion the effort to target parents at school board meetings was an October 4th, 2021 memo. We've known about that for a long time. What we didn't know was just how much resistance the FBI, local sheriff's departments, and internal Justice Department officials had to this plan, way more than we knew and way more than Merrick Garland acknowledged back in 2021 when this blew up as a scandal. And I want to point out one thing that's really important. Amanda, the Sheriff's Department was saying, hey, we know our local school boards, we're not getting complaints that there are parents being radical or posing a security threat. So maybe, just like those fake racists that the Southern Poverty Law Center was funding, maybe they were faking something that didn't actually exist. We have to look it up. Good to have you here. I was at the UFC MMA fight last night. The fights were amazing. Yeah. The environment was amazing. Yeah. But I got to spend most of my evening with the incredible men and women of the U.S. Marines, of the U.S. Navy, and the U.S. Air Force. They were all sitting around me. I never saw greater patriots. I never saw greater patriotism, people coming up and thanking them. It really restored my excitement about America at 250. When you meet that quality people behind you all day, and also everyone else in the room appreciating them, it was amazing. At one point, Pete Hegseth just shed his security detail, ran right up the stairs past me, literally, and just started shaking hands and bumping fists. And the connection with the men and women that he leads was out of this world. It was really something to see.
Yeah, and it was, the display of patriotism, and the UFC is a very patriotic sport, first of all. Dana White, Joe Rogan, pretty much everyone involved in that sport, they love this country. They love the opportunities that it affords. And even the fighters who aren't from this country recognize that.
Some of them jumped the ring and shook President Trump's hand.
Absolutely. It was amazing. And I love seeing that display. And you were there underneath the claw, which is what they called that structure that they built. I was in the area that was on the South Lawn in the Ellipse. And same thing, patriotism left to right, everyone wearing patriotic shirts, chanting USA, USA, USA. So it was an incredible night, and you look at the counter programming that Democrats were putting out there. And boy, a tale of two Americas indeed. And John, speaking of a tale of two Americas, the TDS folks, the Trump derangement folks over on the left, what they are doing over this peace agreement raises one question in my mind. So what would the country look like if President Trump had lost the 2024 presidential election and we had had Kamala Harris as president? To answer that, look no further than over to our friends across the pond, the United Kingdom. Now, if you are a citizen of the United Kingdom, you would hope that your leaders would zero in on major issues like some of the issues surrounding the immigration crisis or health care. But it turns out that is not the focus for Prime Minister Keir Starmer at all. So let's take a look at what he had to announce earlier today.
Today is a big moment for our country. This is a big step. Real change for our children and our future. Because today I can announce that the government will ban access to social media for all children under the age of 16. Government is always about choices. And it's clear to me that a full ban is the right choice.
And when you look at the destruction that social media causes to young people, I think that a lot of people might agree with Prime Minister Keir Starmer that it is a big moment for the country, but also, is it the right move? Because, is it the right move? Is this going to turn into a ban? Is it going to lead to further restrictions on free speech? I'd also like to highlight a community note that was posted beneath this announcement on the X platform. This note reads, the UK government's careful review of the research found a small correlation between children's use of social media and well-being, but no evidence of a causal effect. All right, next up, Governor of California, Gavin Newsom, announced that he is being investigated by the Department of Justice, and he, of course, frames it as allegedly being under the direction of President Trump due to the sole reason that he is, quote, considering running for president. And he claims that the government is trying to find a crime. Does that remind any of you of anything that happened? Anyone else who was under heavy investigation before becoming president for the second time? So while the DOJ hasn't confirmed this investigation as of late, could this have something to do with the rampant fraud happening in California or something else happening in California? Now, the governor also said Monday that the DOJ is abusing the grand jury process and said that federal agencies had sought information from family members and close associates. So, John, once again, we see Gavin Newsom kind of spinning things in the direction of President Trump, when in fact it was President Trump who I think a lot of people would agree was the one who was being investigated because of political motives.
Take a look at the reporting that Seamus Bruner and I did about a year ago. I have a funny feeling it's at the heart of that criminal investigation. Keep a close eye on it.
Yeah.
All right, we've got a great way to kick off the show. We're trying to make sense of this historic Iran-U.S. deal, if it happens, and that's a big if it happens, and it can be confirmed and it can be verified that Iran is playing good. It will end 47-plus years of hostility. Joining us now, the vice president of the Lexington Institute and one of our favorite national security analysts. We always walk away smarter when she's on the show, Rebecca Grant. Rebecca, great to have you on the show.
Great to talk to you. Such a momentous time.
Yeah, and this is a big deal. So tell us what you think is in the deal and what's the likelihood that, one, we can get it done, and two, that we can keep Iran on track with the deal so that we really do have peace.
Well, I wish they'd sent me an advance copy. We're all just dying to see the details. But we know that President Trump's #1 objective was to really lock Iran out of any path to a nuclear weapon. I think he's insisting that they don't develop one. They're not going to purchase one. That is not going to happen. I think also in this deal will be the steps to take to get control of the nuclear dust. Now, there may be some more negotiating going on with that. I think that's the big question mark. But there's got to be that path. Also, as we know, Strait of Hormuz to be open, no toll booth, no drones, no IRG fast boats, none of that going on. I think that's going to be ironclad in the deal. And then it sounds like there will be Iranian assets unfrozen at some point, but probably not right up front. It sounds like that's going to be doled out if Iran continues to comply. And of course, over top of all this, a ceasefire, but we're not moving any forces out of Central Command. Admiral Cooper is going to keep a very close eye on things.
No doubt.
Well, we know that Iran is typically not an honest broker. So There's plenty of time, plenty of hours between now and Geneva. What could throw this off course? If there's something that Iran pulls back because of, what is that?
Yeah, the number one thing would be rogue activity by the IRGC. They have a decentralized command and control structure. If there's some IRGC operative with a fast boat or a drone who wants to try to be a hero and launches something towards either our U.S. Navy or the merchant shippers, that could really be a problem. You know, Iran could also weasel word out of this, but my thinking here is that if Galbea from the parliament has actually stepped up and signed this deal, they are willing to go to this next step. And yeah, there's going to be the 60 days of negotiations. But I think the biggest risk here would be a last minute pop off of a small attack of some kind by Iran.
Yeah. All right. There was a little bit of different messaging out of Iran, an optimistic sounding messaging today, talk of a new era. Is that a sign that maybe the propaganda channels have been adjusted with their tone and dial?
Yes, interesting how instead of the hate and terror and destruction message, the defiance that we've heard, it's now, okay, nothing to see here, let's move on. They claimed tactical victories. I don't know what that consists of. But it does suggest an attempt to message to keep the current, as President Trump says, third set of leaders in power, and then to kind of try to move everybody in the direction of this deal. Definitely a change in tone, as you observe.
Yeah.
Rebecca, what does this mean for regime change in Iran? Because I speak to a lot of Persians here in the United States, and they're a little worried that this peace deal might be just enough to establish some peace in the area, but not enough to actually cause or exact regime change.
That's right. And I think we, as much as we would love to see a democratized Iran and so much change, that regime that killed so many of its own people, we must remember that Operation Epic Fury was first and foremost a military operation to end the path towards nukes and to take down Iran's power projection capabilities, missiles, drones, Navy, and all that. That's been incredibly successful. And tacked on to that has been the objective that developed during the war of needing to make sure that the Strait of Hormuz had freedom of navigation. To be perfectly honest, regime change, I'm kind of hoping it's going to happen, hoping that taking away the terror apparatus and the power projection will give Iran's people a chance there. But that is not a part of this deal that is about to be signed.
Rebecca, something interesting happened. I called it the Hey Vlad moment today because President Trump basically pivoted right away to Putin saying, hey, this is a good time to help end the conflict in Ukraine. Let's do it. Does something like Iran give the president some momentum to get the stalled Russia-Ukraine peace talks on track, particularly because Putin's been making some of his own soundings recently?
Oh, I hope so. And that was fascinating in the presser with President Macron of France. Trump says, yeah, I talked to Putin for an hour. I talked to Zelensky. And we're like, wait, wow, he is going to move right into that. Of course, needing to talk to those key allies in the G7, and they've got to keep NATO very strong as Russia continues these attacks. But as you know, John, what's changed in this war is that Ukraine's long-range drone strikes on Russian military targets in Russia, on Russian energy, and on some key places like, Putin's summer house. This has really started to change the calculus. Russia is not doing well on the ground in Ukraine. Ukraine is holding, and the momentum is changing. I would love to see that come up and be a top priority for President Trump. He's with all the right people in Europe to talk about this, and it looks like to me he's going to move straight into that next phase and go after Russia and try to get a ceasefire there in Ukraine and that illegal invasion as well.
Yeah. Amazing.
Rebecca, if Russia and Iran had Facebook pages, their one friend in common would be China. How does this affect China?
Oh, yes. Well, here is President Trump triumphantly meeting at the G7 with a peace accord in hand, solving a nuclear problem that, China was part of those original nuclear talks with Iran. Nobody else could do it. Only President Trump could do it. So it shows, again, the U.S. is as strong in the world leadership, but China, always a problem. They're very integrated into Russia's economy. They had supported Iran right up very recently with selling precursors for missile fuel and all that. So it is a step back for China for sure. But don't forget, they are at the back of all this and our number one adversary.
Yeah. Before we let you go, Rebecca, the oil markets moved quite a bit today. I think oil was below $80 a barrel for the first time in a few months. How quickly will consumers feel that across the globe, and what sort of impact does that have heading into an election season?
I'm planning to fill up my pickup truck today, and I think the impact will be pretty quick. And ideally, from an election perspective, if oil goes back to a more normal thing and it's not the top issue on everybody's mind as it was, then that, I think, will be very helpful and let the Republicans get their message out and let Trump get his message out without the distraction of that terrible period of high gas prices.
Yeah, we can talk about all that hiring that's going on, because actually the economy is doing well with jobs. We just don't talk about it because of gas prices. Pretty amazing. Rebecca, we love every time you come on. It's always an honor to have you on the show, and thanks for helping us understand this complicated story. Good to have you on.
Wonderful to talk to you. Thank you.
Yeah, what a great conversation. All right, as Rebecca Mann, President Trump was in France today for the G7. We'll have more on that and that economy, which is roaring, absent the inflationary pressures of oil prices. I wonder what that's going to do, and I know just the guy who's going to give us an answer. He's one of my favorite economists, Steve Moore, right after the break. Hey folks, I got a movie recommendation for you. Hidden War, now streaming on Angel, takes viewers inside one of the most important fights happening in the world today, the battle against child trafficking. The documentary follows Tim Ballard and his team as an investigation that begins in war-torn Ukraine, uncovers a trafficking network stretching across continents in pursuit of the people responsible. And this isn't a dramatization, it's the real thing. It's built on raw footage. You'll see undercover operations, real rescue missions, traffickers being brought to justice, and children being given a chance at a better future. And while the subject matter is difficult, this ultimately is a hopeful film. It's about proving that even in some of the darkest places on earth, light can be restored. It's notable that Angel is willing to distribute films about subjects many major studios seem reluctant to touch directly. If you saw The Sound of Freedom, this is very much a continuation of that conversation. If you want to watch something that goes beyond entertainment and shines a light on a very real global crisis, start streaming Hidden War on Angel today. Go to angel.com/JS and watch now. That's angel.com/JS. Go watch.
What if I told you could get a brand new metal roof and save 50% off the installation? Let's go!
Rav family, it's time to stand up and fight back.
We have to be tough.
Join fellow patriots at the America First Warehouse for AMAC's Boot Camp for Patriots.
Yes, sir!
An incredible two-day event designed to teach you how policy gets implemented, how grassroots movements create change, and how you can help shape the future of America.
Proud and free and standing tall.
On June 19th, don't miss Real America's Voice live on site with a special taping of Live from Studio 6B, The Freedom Truck, live music and barbecue. And on June 20th, it's Vendor Village, followed by AMAC's Boot Camp for Patriots live event. Tickets are limited and going fast. Scan the QR code now and reserve your spot today. 2 days of training, fellowship, and action brought to you by AMAC. Get your tickets now before they're gone.
When it's breaking,
We're moving.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. News doesn't sleep. At Real America's Voice, we don't get to crash or lose focus. That's why we drink Soldier Fuel to stay ahead of the chaos, because we do this for you.
So good.
Soldier Fuel has no sugar, so no crash.
Now that's a game changer.
Here we go, all of us.
Wow, that's good.
I'm fueled up now.
Used by the U.S. military every day. Now available to you.
This is huge.
Built by Patriots for Patriots.
Now it's time for you to do the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Order Soldier Fuel, film yourself cracking one open, and taking the Soldier Fuel Challenge. Upload your video at soldierfuel.com/challenge, and you'll be entered to win a free shipment of Soldier Fuel.
That's what I'm talking about.
Your video could also be featured on air. Just scan the QR code on your screen or go to soldierfuel.com/challenge to enter. Drink with the Rav Hosts drink, Soldier Fuel.
Let's go. Welcome back, everybody, to Just the News, No Noise. President Trump is in France for the annual G7 summit, and it's a historic one this time as the conflict in Iran is winding down. But we've seen European leaders over the last few months talking tough about a world that isn't dominated by American power and economic might, but have they found that that's not as true as they have been saying? Joining us now to break all of that down is the author of The Trump Economic Miracle and the co-founder of Unleash Prosperity, our good friend Steve Moore. Steve, great to have you here tonight.
Thank you. Hi, guys.
President Trump is having discussions with a number of nations. I would maybe leave Japan out of this, but at least the European nations for sure, a very different ethos when it comes to the economy. So the world is now seeing a group of globalist European nations and the United States economy that is on the brink of roaring, I think. We're already seeing gas prices dropping and seeing more jobs added. What does that say to the rest of the world when they look at that contrast?
Well, by the way, guys, I'm feeling very good today because I learned over the weekend that I was invested in a technology fund, and we own SpaceX. So, John, the next time we have dinner, I'm buying dinner because I'm feeling really good about it.
All right, that's great.
I didn't even know I had it. Is capitalism a great thing?
Are you our second trillionaire now? Yeah.
So, I have to say, this is the story of, the decade maybe that, an immigrant comes in from South Africa with nothing and creates the most valuable company in the history of the world. So it's an amazing thing, and I love capitalism, and Trump does too. And so when you ask me that question, what should Trump say to the Europeans? Exactly what he said virtually at every one of these G7 meetings dating back to 2017. Do what we do. If you want to get rich, do what we do. Cut your taxes, reduce your regulations, get rid of these crazy green energy mandates, have restraints on your government spending. All of these things Trump has done, with a lot of success, and we're starting to see that. And I agree with both of you. I do think we're on the cusp of a real powerful economic surge, very much like we saw in the 1980s when Reagan was president, when things just kept getting better and better. And this is a pro-business president, and that makes a big deal.
It sure does. That's amazing. All right, so Steve, I want to talk a little bit about what's happening in Europe on the converse. So as we are booming, people are leaving and exiting almost all of the major European countries, the very countries that President Trump is with right now in the G7. The voting with your feet phenomenon, the voting with your wallet and getting out, it's also happening in blue states here. When do those failed states start to realize they've got to change their path?
Boy, that's a tough question. I mean, when will they learn? You'll have a big election coming up in the UK, hopefully sometime soon, where they have a failed Labour-run government, which is a failure. Germany is in a recession. Basically, they deindustrialized themselves with this crazy green energy idea. Most of the other countries of Europe are the same. I mean, I was looking at the statistics on the 20 richest people because Forbes just put it out over the weekend. And of course, Elon Musk is number one on that list now. But something like, 15 of the top 20 are Americans and a couple of Chinese, one or two Europeans. But it's just incredible. Or look at the 10 most valuable technology companies. 9 out of 10 are in the US of A. So look, we don't always do things perfectly here, but we're the most free market oriented country in the world, and it really shows. And so it's not hard. Do what's working. What America is doing is working. And yet, you're right, John, there's a lot of resistance in Europe to move in the right direction. By the way, you look at what's happening in Central and South America, you've got 5 or 6 major countries there, including what's happening in Chile, what's happening in Colombia, what's happening in Argentina, that are trying to use the American model, and they're growing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Steve, whether we're talking about California
this stuff isn't
or New
complicated,
York,
right? I mean, you said amazing, John. This isn't amazing. It's obvious. It's obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, we have 500 years of history that show this stuff works, and yet there's still resistance. And the people who get most harmed by these left-wing socialist policies that we're seeing in so many of American cities are the poorest people. They're the ones who get hurt the most.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, and Steve, I mean, speaking of common sense, something that you can actually witness happening, New York, California, Illinois, any of these blue states that are trying to impose a wealth tax, you see millionaires and billionaires in that state who are fleeing far from the sunny West Coast or the beautiful Manhattan skyline. if Democrats actually impose a wealth tax, what happens to those states? Do they completely crumble because those folks are paying a majority of the taxes in that state?
Yeah, so, we have a website at Unleash Prosperity called votewithyourfeet.com, and I hope your viewers will go visit it. It's kind of a fun one. You open up the site and you see a map, and you can click on, John, any two pair of states. You can pick, click on California, and you can click on Texas, and it'll show you where the moving vans are going to and from. And you know the answer to that. You're seeing just massive migration. For the first time in American history, in our first 249 years of our country, the Northeast was the dominant economic and financial region and manufacturing region of the country. That is no longer the case. For the first time in 250 years, the South is now the dominant region economically. Why is that? Well, you have three of those states, Tennessee, Texas, and Florida, have no income tax compared to, say, 14.5% in New York. They are pro-right to work. They have less regulation. All of these things are making the South work. So the answer to your question is the blue states have to either change or they're going to continue to get bled dry from the red states. Now, of course, the blue states had a nice victory on Saturday night. As I said at our hotline today, New York finally beat Texas in something, but that was basketball.
That's good. I love that. One of the things that isn't getting enough attention is the kind of, we've seen the hiring. Even the legacy media has to admit that hiring keeps outperforming the expectations. But real wages, real income is way up. I think it's about $3,000 per family, if I remember correctly from the last story I did.
Yes.
That is a giant injection into everyday Americans' spending habits and their futures. Why doesn't that get more attention? And does it get attention maybe below the media, but at the dinner table, and we're not going to see it until election date?
Well, you're right about that statistic. In fact, we came up with those numbers on the basis of the official Census Bureau data. So that's a lot for the median family. By the way, in 4 years, median family income was up about $300 under Biden. It's already up $3,000 under Trump. And yet, John, people are angry. They are. It's just the people are angry about when they go to the grocery store, when they go to the gas pump, when they, try to find healthcare is expensive. So people are rightfully angry about the costs of things. But given that we have a great new Fed chairman coming in Kevin Warsh, who I'm a huge fan of his, I think he will be an inflation hawk. He's going to bring that inflation down. You compare you combine low inflation with tax cuts, deregulation. I just think this United States is ready to be like a Elon Musk rocket ship.
Yeah. Steve, I know you feel the same way, that the American people are much better arbiters of where to spend their money. Our government is horrible at mismanaging money. And in 6 years, Social Security is basically going to be insolvent. It is a crisis that multiple generations are going to be facing now. Is it fixable in 6 years?
This is one of my most frustrating issues because I've been in Washington almost 40 years now. And from the day I arrived, I've been advocating for allowing young workers to put 12% of their paycheck into an index fund of stocks. And, we saw Friday why that would be so important. Trillions of dollars of wealth were created, but it only went to people who are investors, not workers. Well, we have to fundamentally change Social Security, allow people to put that money into an index fund where when the American economy does better, they do better. And yet now we have a Social Security fund that's going bankrupt. Even though they are, the problem with Social Security, by the way, isn't that the benefits are too high. They're too low, way, way too low. People should be getting 3 times more money out of Social Security, but the money was stolen. As you know, John, you've been in Washington a long time. They stole it and spent it on other government programs. If you were to run a business, a corporation, and you stole money from the pension fund, they'd put you in jail.
They would.
Yeah. I think the phrase paying Peter to pay Paul, or stealing from Peter to pay Paul, came because of the American government, or probably all governments. Steve Moore, author of The Trump Economic Miracle and the co-founder of Unleash Prosperity, a great organization. And everybody go to that website that he was talking about, Vote With Your Feet. Steve, always a pleasure to have you with us.
Thanks, guys. Have a great week. Take care.
Absolutely. All right, everybody, coming up next, we are joined by Rav correspondent and singer-songwriter Bo Davidson to discuss his new single, Blessed.
I'd like to say this is the first time.
It's always been a family tradition in my family, and just to be a representative of the best country the world has ever known is my true blessing.
We are blessed to live in freedom, blessed to live in peace, blessed with food and shelter, blessed with life on lease.
Rav Family, our very own Bo Davidson, is releasing a powerful new patriotic anthem called Blessed, a heartfelt tribute to the brave men and women who served our nation and protected our freedom. We truly are blessed to be Americans. Scan the QR code now to download Blessed by Bo Davidson. And let's do our part to run this song up the charts as a thank you to those who served and sacrificed for our country.
Through every storm, every moment of uncertainty,
Everybody needs to pray for Charlie Kirk right now.
Rav has stood strong.
We're not going to tolerate this stuff anymore.
Turn that anger into motivation to save this nation.
When we move together, there is power.
The cries of this widow will echo like a battle cry.
This is more than news. It's a movement.
This revolution of people taking their countries back.
A turning point. A chance to be part of something greater than yourself. Scan the QR code and stand with Rav. The story isn't over, and neither is your part in it. Step in, be counted, be heard. Together, we are Rav.
We will achieve American greatness. And we are just getting started.
I've been several countries all over the world, and there's nowhere in the world like it is here in this country.
Family, our very own Bo Davidson is releasing a powerful new patriotic anthem called Blessed, a heartfelt tribute to the brave men and women who served our nation and protected our freedom. We truly are blessed to be Americans. Scan the QR code now to download Blessed by Bo Davidson. And let's do our part to run this song up the charts as a thank you to those who served and sacrificed for our country.
Welcome back, America. What you just heard was part of the song Blessed by Rav's very own Bo Davidson. He's joining us now to discuss the inspiration behind that song and why it's more important than ever as we get closer to America's 250th birthday. Bo, great to be with you tonight. Welcome and congratulations on a sensational song.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it. You know, we went to #1, I believe, in Christian on Saturday, which was an amazing feat. And the music video was top 5. I was above Taylor Swift at one point. And these things fluctuate. So I just want to tell your audience, you know, don't take your foot off the gas, because in order to sustain this type of momentum, you got to keep downloading the song. But it's been a real pleasure to see the success of it so far.
It has such a powerful message coming at this moment when we celebrate the 250th. Maybe part of the country is not going to celebrate it, but the vast majority will. A reminder of just how blessed we are to have freedoms that sometimes we took for granted or even tried to cast aside a few years ago. Tell us a little bit how that message resonates at this moment in history.
Yeah, it's very opportune. It's very apropos, John. You know, I didn't title the song Lucky. I didn't title it Fortunate. I titled it Blessed because I believe that we are blessed in a divine way. John, I just saw this disconnect several years ago between an older generation and a younger generation. I thought, how do we bridge that gap? What can I do artistically to do my part to make sure that we never allow freedom to become extinct? Well, the way to do that is you have to count your blessings. You've heard that phrase before. And I just thought artistically, I need to ask, I was like almost just thinking out loud, what is courage? What is honor, glory, duty? was this just written down in an old story? Does it still exist today? And you look at those men and women in that video right now, which was made, it took 3 months of clearance with the Pentagon to get it. You see those gentlemen all the way back from 95 years old, World War II, to enduring freedom. These are men and women who have served this great country. And I just simply said, John, what does freedom mean to you? And they were saying, it means the world to me. When victory was declared over the Axis, that freedom is not just a concept, it's something we can give to people. That's what America's legacy is. It's exceptionalism. There's no other place like this in the world. And the gentlemen in the video say this. And I just saw this disconnect, John and Amanda, and I wanted to bridge that gap and say to younger generations, never forget the sacrifice that these men and women made to make this country the greatest on earth.
Amen. I love that. But we obviously have this network in common, but we also have something else in common, past operatic training. But this is definitely not classical. This is not opera. It's quite poppy. Have you officially jumped genres?
It's funny you say that because, Amanda, I was born and raised in Memphis, and so I was really raised as kind of a pop singer. But then at about 4 or 5 years old, my mom put me in classical piano lessons, and then I started taking classical voice, went to Northwestern University, studied in the voice and opera program and musical theater, which I know you know very well, studying political science on the side, John. Kind of odd. It seemed like political science and opera, how is this going to work? And here we are years later, and look at how these two things have just beautifully merged. So, Amanda, no, I wouldn't say I've jumped genres. I would say I'm going to do as many genres as people will allow. How about that?
I love it. I love it. Do it.
It is amazing. I saw you perform at CPAC. It was amazing to watch the audience connect with you. Heading into this next month, this song is, I think, going to resonate with every American that looks back and appreciates what we've created here. Last night I was at the USC fight. And the level of patriotism you could feel in that room. I watched hundreds of people come up to sailors and Marines and thank them for their service, first responders. There was sort of a rekindling of something that I think in the last 4 or 5 years was put under a bushel for a while, but it feels like with the 250th birthday coming up, people are like, you know what, enough of this cancel culture. I'm going to speak my mind and say thank you.
John, every day should be September 12th, shouldn't it? I mean, that's the last time I felt like we were all just truly together. But you're right. There's a tinderbox. There's a rekindling of American pride. Now, I can't say that for a lot of the artists that bailed on Freedom 250. I can't say that about them. I don't know what's going on with them. But when I saw America take the field in the FIFA World Cup and win the way they did the other day, you look at this UFC fight, you look at the pride Zach Brown had when he sang. There is a palpable rise right now in patriotism. And we're in our 250th year. What better time to celebrate this country and the artistry and the music that can be a part of it? And, whether it's Lee Greenwood's song, my song, Amanda's song, whoever's songs are out there, Zach Brown's song, May Freedom Forever Fly, Let It Ring, Salute the Ones Who Died, Who Gave Their Lives so we don't have to sacrifice the things we love, like chicken fried. These are the lyrics that come out and we should be thinking about and rekindling every single day. And that's why I wrote the song, John and Amanda, because I just felt we're divinely inspired. We must remember it, and I want to pass that on and pass the torch on to even my own children that I've just had, and hopefully they'll sing it as well.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, I think it's so important that this youngest generation is raised as patriots, people who value our country's history, the good, bad, and the ugly, and see it for what it can be, a more perfect union, as our founding fathers said. But how do we target them? I know obviously with culture, but probably with music like yours, how do we make sure that that generation is raised up to love this country and not hate it?
Well, I'll take the responsibility on my own shoulders, be a good parent, be a good father, be a good mother, but be a good mentor to someone else. I think that's kind of important too. And Amanda, you coming from a performance background, and John as a journalist, we have our own talents. God called us to do certain things. He gave us certain talents, and we've got to use those talents, whether that's in artistry, whether that's writing a tremendous article that's journalistically factual and true and ethically responsible, whether it's what we do here at Real America's Voice or what we do at Real America's Music. There are talents that God gave us, and I believe, Amanda, that what we have to do is use those talents, whatever they may be, to reach out and touch someone. It doesn't matter, Amanda. I don't care if this song reaches one person out there that's listening. That makes the difference to me.
That's so good to hear. All right, Bo, what's next for you? This is an exciting project. We're going to get everybody watching the show tonight to download this song and keep it up at number one.
You want to hear what's next?
Please.
I'm translating the song into Spanish, and we're going to try to put this out on Rev Espanol.
Hey.
It's, my wife is from Paraguay, and I know that so many of the Hispanic population are religious people and people who came to this country, legal immigrants who love this country. I need to speak to them. Amanda, that's exactly kind of the question you just asked. What do? Well, you scratch that itch. You tell them, hey, this is the greatest country in the world. This is why you came here. So I'm translating the song into Spanish as we speak, and we'll be able to have a new version of that right around July 4th.
That is amazing. I was hoping you were going to say I was going to do a duet. You were going to do a duet with Amanda, because I would definitely download that song, and you could have the top of the show. I'm telling you, you could do it.
Oh boy,
that's to be done. That's to be done. I look forward to it.
Well, Bo, you are amazing. You are an amazing journalist. You're an amazing colleague, and now we know you to be an amazing songwriter and singer as well. We are so blessed to be in your company. Thanks for doing the song for all of our country. We really appreciate you, buddy.
Thank you for the article as well, the lovely article, and I'm proud to be colleagues of yours.
Amen. We are proud of to be of yours, too. All right, folks, do me a favor as we're going to commercial break. Don't forget to scan the QR code to download the song, Blessed. Let's support patriotic artists like Bo, who share our values. Go do it right now. You'll feel good, and you'll get a great song on your playlist. All right, more for you right after this quick break. Hey folks, this episode is brought to you by Native Path Grass-Fed Collagen for better bones, joints, skin, hair, and nails. Here's something that genuinely surprised me. Calcium supplements, the ones millions of people take for bone health, may not be doing much at all because bones are 90% collagen, not calcium. Without the collagen scaffold to attach to, calcium has nowhere to go. That's where today's sponsor comes in. After 30, our bodies produce 1 to 2% less collagen every single year. That's the protein that keeps our bones dense, our joints cushioned, and of course our skin firm. By age 60, like me, most people have lost half their collagen, and it's nearly impossible to get it back through diet alone because it lives in the parts of the animal we don't eat: the bones, the cartilage, the tendons. Native Path Grass-Fed Collagen is a clean grass-fed type 1 and 3 collagen that dissolves completely in coffee or water. No taste, no clumping. Thousands of customers report less joint pain, stronger nails, younger looking skin, better sleep, and even improved bone density scans. To try it risk-free with a 365-day money-back guarantee, head to getnativepath.com/justnews. That's getnativepath.com/justnews.
Old school online security tools leave you half.
It's always been a family tradition in my family, and just to be a representative of the best country the world has ever known is my true blessing.
We are blessed to live in freedom, blessed to live in peace, blessed with food and shelter, blessed with life on lease.
Rav Family, our very own Bo Davidson, is releasing a powerful new patriotic anthem called Blessed, a heartfelt tribute to the brave men and women who served our nation and protected our freedom. We truly are blessed to be Americans. Scan the QR code now to download Blessed by Bo Davidson. And let's do our part to run this song up the charts as a thank you to those who served and sacrificed for our country.
Through every storm, every moment of uncertainty,
Everybody needs to pray for Charlie Kirk right now.
Rav has stood strong.
We're not going to tolerate this stuff anymore.
Turn that anger into motivation to save this nation.
When we move together, there is power.
The cries of this widow will echo like a battle cry.
This is more than news. It's a movement.
This revolution of people taking their countries back.
A turning point. A chance to be part of something greater than yourself. Scan the QR code and stand with Rav. The story isn't over, and neither is your part in it. Step in, be counted, be heard. Together, we are Rav.
We will achieve American greatness. And we are just getting started.
Hey, folks, welcome back. I want to share something personal to start the segment. I've been sleeping on a ghost bed for a while now, and I can honestly say it's a game changer. I mean that sincerely. I used to wake up stiff, sore, still tired, sometimes sweaty, too, even after a full night's sleep. Since switching to ghost bed, I'm sleeping deeper, waking up without that morning pain, and I feel more rested overall. Actually, I think my colleagues like me a lot more in my office because I wake up happier. It made me realize how much a mattress affects your health, not just your comfort. That's why I want to bring on the man behind GhostBed today, the man who makes me sleep better. Joining us now, the CEO of GhostBed, Mark Warner. Mark, great to have you on the show.
Good to see you, John and Amanda. Thank you for having GhostBed.
We love it. Thank you for making it. You have made my sleeping time much, much more better. We're in muggy season. Everybody is sweating. You can't even walk outside for 2 seconds without sweating. I slept last night cool as a cat. I just was so comfortable. I'll remind everybody before we get into some of the other things I want to talk about, just a little bit about that cooling technology, because on a night like last night is when I really noticed it.
Well, we have multiple cooling technologies. We have several patents, things that are important to me because I always sleep warm. So I developed technology called phase change technology. So we embed it in the fabric so it's cool to the touch. And as soon as you touch it, you can feel it right away. And then we embedded a layer on the foam in the mattress or the pillow. And what that does, it pulls away any of the heat from your person, takes you down a couple degrees. So it just gets you to that right temperature so you're nice and relaxed and you can fall asleep and stay asleep. And we employ that technology for really all of our products. Like our sheets are just unbelievable. They're cool and crisp. We use Tenasil, which is a natural material from a eucalyptus tree, and then we use Supima cotton from California. We blend it together, and it's just so awesome. I mean, I invented the thing. I wake up every morning with my wife and I say, these are the greatest sheets in the world. And it's like Groundhog Day. I just keep saying the same thing because they're just so cool and crisp. Everyone should have a pair of Ghost sheets.
Yeah, definitely.
Mark, the story of Ghost Bed is a family story for you, but it's also the epitome to me of the mother of necessity is invention. Talk to us about how it started.
So I've had 3 neck surgeries, a lot of metal in my neck, lots of screws and rods and all that stuff from being an athlete and that kind of stuff. And I couldn't find a mattress or a pillow that really worked for me. So being an inventive guy and an entrepreneur, I was blessed to come from the Werner ladder family where my grandfather started it 100 years ago. And my dad invented the aluminum ladder and the fiberglass ladder. I came from that environment and I learned under his tutelage all about polymers and fiberglass. And really a fiberglass ladder is like a structural polymer, a little technical, and a memory foam pillow or mattress is a comfort polymer. So I took that technology and started my own business with my wife because I love family business. I love made in USA business. And this is after the ladder company changed hands to someone else. So about 25 years ago, we started a family business. And that's how we really got started. And it's been a growth success story ever since. And it's all about the same principles: high quality, lower cost, high value that's affordable for everybody in all the products we make: mattresses, pillows, toppers, sheets, adjustable bases, etc. And we've got new products coming out that are very interesting that will play into the next generation of cooling technology for us and for all of our customers.
Ooh, can't wait to hear about that. That's pretty exciting. I want to talk a little bit about waking up stiff and sore. I think a lot of people just accept, all right, I'm 60, that's what's going to happen. You just have to live with the rest of your life. But you don't. And a lot of that waking up stiff and sore and tight-muscled or Charlie horses in the middle of the night isn't old age. It may just be the structure of your mattress. Is that right?
That's right. It's more than likely your mattress. Over time, your mattress kind of ages out and your body changes and your needs change. So I would always suggest when you are feeling bad and not getting a good night's sleep and not having the kind of comfort you should have, you should really look at your mattress, and it's time to get a new mattress. And you kind of got the report card that it's not working. So you should probably take the Mark's mattress quiz on our website at ghostbed.com, and it will kind of evaluate what your sleep type is: firm, soft, cooling, less cooling, etc. And we'll come up with a suggestion of the various types of mattresses we make, which pretty much scans the whole population of sleeper types.
Well, one of my favorite aspects of Ghost Bed, I mean, my whole life, I've always run hot. My husband is the opposite, and that's okay. There are a lot of couples like that who need different things, and you do that as well, right?
We do. really pioneered what we call the split king adjustable. So that's two adjustable bases, and the adjustable bases, the head can go up, the leg goes up, it's got massage, it's got undercarriage lighting, it's got USB ports for charging your phones and your iPads, and then you can select the type of mattress that you want. So you might want something a little bit firmer, and your husband might want something a little softer and extra cool. So you can pick your own mattresses, they come together, it's a perfect setup, and more people are getting this kind of a split king adjustable, and it's what we call a lifestyle choice. And it's not, there's no separation of the couple. You can cuddle all you want together, but you've got your individual choices. And as you may or may not know, I think 20-30% of the couples in the country have what they call a sleep divorce, where they sleep in separate rooms because it's either snoring or different mattresses, and they go to a totally different mattress. This split king adjustable really solves that problem. I would suggest people look into that.
Yeah, that's a good deal. I'll just tell this last anecdote before we go. So we bought our ghost bed. Then I saw my son was limping around. He's only in his 30s, special needs. And so he can't tell us what's wrong, but we know he was having a hard time walking. He was walking with like an arch. We switched out his bed with a ghost mattress, gone in like 3 days. So, he couldn't communicate what was wrong with it. We clearly found out quickly by just switching out that mattress. So my family, we're all in on what you did, Mark. Thank you for making our life better. We really appreciate it.
That's awesome. And thank you for having us.
Yeah, we love the partnership. All right, folks, to everybody here, because we have this great friendship with Mark, we want to have you take advantage of what of the deals that we get. So go to ghostbed.com/justnews, ghostbed.com/justnews, and then use the promo code JustNews. You're going to get an extra 10% off just because you watch the show. Go check it out today. It is a game changer. I mean this personally. It has changed my life. All right, back in a second for final thoughts with Amanda right after these messages.
Hey, just want to.
It's always been a family tradition in my family, and just to be a representative of the best country the world has ever known is my true blessing.
We are blessed to live in freedom, blessed to live in peace, blessed with food and shelter, blessed with a life on lease.
Rav Family, our very own Bo Davidson, is releasing a powerful new patriotic anthem called Blessed, a heartfelt tribute to the brave men and women who served our nation and protected our freedom. We truly are blessed to be Americans. Scan the QR code now to download Blessed by Bo Davidson. And let's do our part to run this song up the charts as a thank you to those who served and sacrificed for our country.
Through every storm, every moment of uncertainty,
Everybody needs to pray for Charlie Kirk right now.
Rav has stood strong.
We're not going to tolerate this stuff anymore.
Turn that anger into motivation to save this nation.
When we move together, there is power.
The cries of this widow will echo like a battle cry.
This is more than news. It's a movement.
This revolution of people taking their countries back.
A turning point. A chance to be part of something greater than yourself. Scan the QR code and stand with Rav. The story isn't over, and neither is your part in it. Step in, be counted, be heard. Together, we are Rav.
We will achieve American greatness. And we are just getting started.
Welcome back, everybody. It is the final block of the show, and I guess we have to start on a sour note, John, because a B-52 bomber down in Southern California.
Oh, yes, we do. Yeah. We look like 8 dead in California on the B-52 bomber, and that was another Air Force jet, looks like it's down in Washington State. We're still trying to get details on that, but a tragic day. And I was just thinking about all those people I was sitting with last night. Many of them were in the Air Force. They take risks every day when they get in the cockpit, when they do something. And today, our hearts and prayers are with all of those who have fallen in the line of duty in these crashes.
Yeah, and these are people who spend they spend this time dedicated to training and learning and running operations and drills, and it's heartbreaking. And like you said, our thoughts and our prayers are with those families. Speaking of something that might make you cry, or in this case cringe, as we talked about at the top of the show, Democrats decided to do some counter-programming to last night's UFC Freedom 250, and there couldn't be a starker contrast between the two moods, the two vibes, the two ideologies. And guys, I want to roll SOT 5. I don't know why Democrats continue to do this. They do this singing thing, and I can't even describe it. Just check it out.
No one is getting left behind this time. No one is getting left behind. Not this time. No one is getting left behind this time. How do we get there? Together or never get there at all.
Sounds like me singing. That's how bad it is.
I don't even know what to say. I also don't know what to say. Hassan Piker, who has been saying a lot of things lately that I think are just absolutely outrageous, he commented on Zohran Mamdani. And, a lot of folks in this country, they look at what Zohran Mamdani is trying to do in New York City, has done to some degree in New York City, and they think, oh, my gosh, this guy is a radical. He's on the fringe. But Hassan Piker is hoping that by the end of midterms, well, that's not the case. Check it out.
I hope that although Zohran was the first in New York City, by the end of these midterms, Zohran will seem unremarkable. Because by then, we will have elected so many brilliant fighters into legislative offices throughout the New York City and the state.
John, I mean, kudos to him for the optimism. I don't see that happening because some of the most extreme issues that Zohran Mamdani ran on are completely unpopular everywhere else in the country.
Yeah, he's also not delivering them. He's broken a lot of his campaign promises already because they're just not realistic.
Of course not.
I want to go back to that horrible rendition of Nobody Left Behind. Joe Biden and the Democrats left lots of hostages behind. Donald Trump got them freed. Joe Biden and the Democrats left more than 140,000 innocent children behind with the cartels and lost track of them. Donald Trump got them back. Joe Biden left millions and millions of families unable to make ends meet with their bills. And Donald Trump's plan, as Steve Moore just said, has improved their life. And of course, Joe Biden left lots of open borders, which left us all behind on the security card. We were all less safe from that open border and that defund the police movement that Democrats gave us. They ought to change that song and get a better singer and say, we leave everybody behind, because that's really what their policies say to everyday Americans.
Absolutely. All right, let's end on a happy note, or at least a humorous one. And I say this in jest, but as Rebecca Grant was talking about filling up her gas tank in her truck, I thought to myself, you guys have me to thank that gas prices are going down, because I re-upped my motorcycle license, and now I'm going to go look. There's a Honda Rebel in Vienna and a Scout 60 in Fairfax that I'm going to go look at, because, motorcycle, vroom, vroom, less gas. So it's only because of that. It's like the concept of bringing an umbrella. If you bring an umbrella to work, it's not going to rain. I decided to be, economically prudent, that I was going to get a motorcycle so I would spend less on gas, and now gas prices are going down. You're welcome.
Thank you for making that happen. It's one of many things every day you contribute to this great country.
But on a serious note, what Steve Moore was saying rings true.
Below $80, and I think it's going up. Gold is going up. Oil is going down. That's a really good sign for the economy.
Yep.
I think the boom is just ahead.
Yeah, I think give it a few months for it to settle in. Absolutely. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for us tonight. We appreciate you being with us. We're going to be back here tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Eastern. Until then, have a wonderful night.
250 years ago, ordinary men and women did something extraordinary.
It's always been a family tradition in my family, and just to be a representative of the best country the world has ever known is my true blessing.
We are blessed to live in freedom, blessed to live in peace, blessed with food and shelter, blessed with life on lease.
Rav family, our very own Bo Davidson is releasing a powerful new patriotic anthem called Blessed, a heartfelt tribute to the brave men and women who served our nation and protected our freedom. We truly are blessed to be Americans. Scan the QR code now to download Blessed by Bo Davidson. And let's do our part to run this song up the charts as a thank you to those who served and sacrificed for our country.
Through every storm, every moment of uncertainty,
Everybody needs to pray for Charlie Kirk right now.
Rav has stood strong.
We're not going to tolerate this stuff anymore.
Turn that anger into motivation to save this nation.
When we move together, there is power.
The cries of this widow will echo like a battle cry.
This is more than news.